Welcome to our series of webinars presented by FrontRunner Professional. I'm Mark Miatello, Customer Support Representative with FrontRunner Professional. I want to thank you for taking the time to join us for the webinar. And once again, helping out is Stephanie Christoph. She'll be doing all the actual work that you'll see on your screen. In this webinar, we're going to be reviewing the Notice Compiler. Now, detailed information on everything that we're about to show you is available in the online manuals, and I can't stress enough that step-by-step processes to do anything in the IMS are available in the online manuals. If you hadn't had a chance to look at them, put some time aside and see what is available. It's a great tool, and it's right there at any time for you. To access the manual, just select the Main tab, then Help Desk, and finally User Manual. And, of course, be sure to check back to the Virtual Learning Center on a regular basis. We're writing new webinars all the time and updating some of the older ones, so check in on that. Now on to the Notice Compiler. Now once you have collected and entered all the vital statistics for a deceased, you go into the record and you've set up the service and visitation times. You can now work on the obit. In the record, select Notices. The page will default to Notice Compiler. Now, if your record's been filled out completely, the obituary will automatically be created for you. You don't need to worry about the notice drop-down, as this will be the first obituary you are creating, known as Notice 1 in the drop-down. Use the template drop-down to select a template you would like to use for this obit. Once a template is chosen, you can modify the obituary. If you happen to be sitting with a family or you just need it for yourself, you can use the font drop-down to choose a larger font size so it's easier to read. You can also choose a photo if you'd like to add one for the obituary. The drop-down list will have each photo that's been uploaded for this particular record. And if you'll be sending it to a newspaper, they usually accept photos from 150 to 200 DPI. Now place a check mark inside the Use Notice as Obituary on Web box if you wish to have this obituary appear in the Book of Memories. If you'd like to add more than one notice, you can select the Create a New Notice icon. If you'd like to add a new one but use the same template, select the Create a Copy icon. As an example, you can use the Notice drop-down to select which notice you would like to copy, such as Notice 1. Select Create a Copy. Now in the Notice drop-down, there will be an item called Notice 1 Copy. If you need to delete, simply choose the item from the Notice drop-down and select the Delete Notice. One other point, you can also simply copy and paste from another document. If you want to copy and paste the obituary in here instead and not use any of the templates and build a new one, if the family's put something together or you have something already built in a Word document, you can just copy and paste it right in there. Now we're going to move to the newspaper insertion section. Use the notice drop-down to select which notice you'll be working with first. And then you can select Add a Newspaper for insertion. Now if no newspapers appear in the list, you'll need to subscribe or add newspapers, and we're going to review that process shortly. Use the drop-down to select a newspaper, click on Add a New Date, then click on the calendar icon to select a date. And to add more newspapers, just repeat those steps. If you need to remove a newspaper and all of its information, select the Remove This Newspaper. If you only need to change the newspaper insertion dates, select the Remove icon and repeat this for all notices for the record. Pretty straightforward setup. And now we're going to move on to the Summary Approval section. Use the Notice drop-down to select which notice you would like to copy. This will show a print preview of that notice. If you'd like to print only the notice, you can select the Print Full Notice Review. If you'd like to print off a summary and have the family sign for approval, you can select the Print Summary Authorization Form. To submit this to the papers, Use the notice drop-down to select which notice you'd like to submit to the newspapers. There'll be a list of newspapers you are sending the notice to on the right. Under each newspaper will be an email submission icon. Just select email submission to each paper that you want to send the obit to. And note that the from email address will be the main email address that you use under the site profile of your IMS system. Now, if you need to set up newspaper subscriptions, we go over to the system settings, which you can select either the top right or by clicking on the quick launch button in the lower left corner. And then we select notice compiler and finally newspaper subscriptions. Now, there are two categories within newspaper subscriptions. There's USA and Canada. Obviously, a list of the newspapers in the U.S. and a list of newspapers in Canada. Once you have added a newspaper, it's going to populate to that location city, allowing other clients to subscribe to them as well. So if you're doing someone a favor, possibly. If there's a newspaper that your company uses but does not appear in any of the categories, you can learn how to add one by selecting Add in the upper right-hand corner. Now, to subscribe to a newspaper, select the plus sign beside your country. Next, select your state or province, and finally your city. And select the newspaper you wish to subscribe to, and then select Subscribe up in the upper right-hand corner. And once you do subscribe to it, you'll notice a check mark beside the newspaper that's going to appear there showing that you have subscribed to it. And you can now be used for newspaper notice compiler. If you need to add a newspaper, select the Add icon. We're going to add a newspaper now. And select the Add icon. Fill out the information, such as the newspaper name, the address, state or province. You can use the drop-down for that, as well as the country. Now, important information here, flat rate. If the newspaper has a flat rate amount that they use, you can put that in here. Number of lines is for entering the number of lines that are included in the flat rate. We have the extra line rate. That's where you enter the amount per extra line. Picture rate, which you enter if a picture is included. The URL rate, enter the amount there if there is a URL included. And footer rate, which once again you enter the amount if there is a footer included. Schedule. Use a drop-down to select when this newspaper gets published, whether daily, weekly, bi-weekly, that sort of thing, and allows URL. Use that drop-down to select whether or not this newspaper allows a URL at the bottom of the notice. Now, the contact information, enter the contact name, email, and phone number for up to 3 contacts for the newspaper. Now, it's extremely important information. If no email address is entered, the system won't send the notice because it has nowhere to send it to. And entering all that pricing information, the system will be able to generate an estimated cost for you before sending off to the newspaper. And when you're done, make sure you click the Save icon. When you do save a new paper, it's automatically subscribing you to that paper. You don't have to go back in and subscribe to it after. And now we're going to have a look at the template builder right up above. If you need to edit an existing template, select Template drop-down box where you choose that from, and choose the template that you want to edit. Click inside the white box where the text is and place your cursor where you'd like to edit. Next, using the categories on the left, choose your field. Use the plus icon to make that selection. And as you click on the field name you'd like to add in the white box, you'll see that it pops in. And keep adding as much as you need right through those steps until that's finished. And the field name is what is will be pulled from the record, I should say, and it will be placed on the depth notice when you do set this up for each record. So make sure each field is separated with a space as well, or they're all going to run together. When that's all completed, you can select the Save Template icon. If you'd like to create a template from the Select Template drop-down, choose the New Template option, and you obviously have to select a name for it. Now, as an example of a template you may want to build, we'll do one for John Edward Doe, passed away March 10th, 1950 at the age of 58. So you use the Deceased Info category and choose the field First Name by clicking on it. It'll appear in the box on the right. Enter a space. Now click on the field Middle Name. Once again, enter a space. Last Name, enter a space. Now you can type in the words in the box Passed Away. Enter a space. Then over in the category, select Death Details category. Choose the field Date of Death by clicking on it. Once again, enter that space. Now type in At the Age of. Enter a space. And now choose the field Age. Should mention age at death. And once that's fully built, you click on the Save Template icon. Your template is completed, and if you went back to a record and selected this template, it would fill out as you have selected it here. And there you have it filled in. System pulled all the information as you told it to. And that's how you utilize the Notice Compiler in the IMS. We hope that you found this information helpful, and should you have any questions, you can check the online manual, and of course you can contact us at any time at support@frontrunnerpro.com, and be sure to check the Virtual Learning Center on a regular basis for new and updated webinars. And once again, thank you for your time.